For years, we have been told that we need to walk 10,000 steps a day as the gold standard for good health. Many of us bought smartwatches partly to track that number, and some days we even find ourselves walking around the house at night just to make sure we hit that target. But the question is, do we really need 10,000 steps a day to improve our health? What if the biggest health benefits happen well before that 10,000 step target? According to a recent analysis that combined data from dozens of studies, the number associated with major health benefits may be much lower than many of us think. And perhaps even more surprising, the famous 10,000 step goal may not have even originated from science at all. So, where did the 10,000 step goal come from? The story begins in Japan in the 1960s. Around the time of the Tokyo Olympic Games, public interest in health and physical activity was growing. During this period, a Japanese company called Yamaza introduced a pedometer known as the Manpo K, which roughly translates to 10,000 step meter. But here's the surprising part. At the time, there was little scientific evidence to suggest that 10,000 steps was the ideal daily target. Instead, the number appears to have been chosen because it was simple, memorable, and easy to promote. And the idea worked. Over time, the 10,000 step target spread beyond Japan and eventually became one of the most widely recognized fitness goals in the world. It was adopted by fitness campaigns, wellness programs, smartphone apps, and wearable devices around the globe. Eventually, it became so familiar that many people assumed it must have originated from scientific research. But just because a target became popular through marketing doesn't automatically mean it's wrong. The real question is whether scientific evidence supports it. And before we dive into what the science actually says, if you enjoy evidence-based videos on health, lifestyle, science, and well-being, please consider subscribing. I publish a new science-based video every week or two, and your support genuinely helps me continue creating content like this. So, what does the science actually say about the 10,000 step goal? To answer that question, researchers recently conducted one of the most comprehensive analyses on daily step counts and health. The study brought together evidence from 57 studies across 35 different cohorts involving hundreds of thousands of participants. Researchers then examined how daily step counts related to a wide range of health outcomes. One of the key comparisons was between people taking around 7,000 steps per day and those taking around 2,000 steps per day. And the differences were substantial. Compared with people taking around 2,000 steps per day, those taking around 7,000 steps per day had a 47% lower risk of dying from any cause. They also found a 47% lower risk of dying from cardiovascular disease and a 38% lower risk of dementia. And the benefits did not stop there. The researchers also observed lower risks of cancer mortality, falls, cardiovascular disease, depressive symptoms, and type 2 diabetes. That's a remarkable range of health outcomes linked to something as simple as walking more each day. And here's what I found even more interesting. The benefits did not suddenly appear at 10,000 steps per day. In fact, for many of the outcomes studied, some of the biggest health gains occurred when people moved from very low levels of activity to around 7,000 steps per day. In other words, going from 2,000 to 7,000 steps appeared to matter far more than going from 7,000 to even higher step counts. And that's encouraging news because for many people, reaching 7,000 steps per day may feel much more realistic than trying to hit 10,000 every single day. Now, this doesn't mean that 10,000 steps is useless. In fact, the researchers found that health benefits generally continued beyond 7,000 steps, but the additional improvements became smaller. So, if you're already walking 10,000 steps a day, there's probably no reason to stop. Perhaps the most encouraging finding from the study is that the benefits were seen even at lower step counts. For example, compared with taking around 2,000 steps per day, taking around 4,000 steps per day was associated with a 36% lower risk of dying from any cause. In other words, you don't need to go from the couch to 10,000 steps overnight. Even relatively small increases in daily movement appear to matter. So, to conclude this, While 10,000 steps remains a reasonable target for many active people, substantial health benefits appear to occur well before that number. For many people, aiming first for 4,000 steps and then gradually working towards 7,000 steps may be a more realistic and achievable approach.